You are listening to the Getting Lucky Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. I am your host, Lucky Robert Curtis. I am joined by my co-host, Mitchell Stuckey. Stuckey and Lucky. Say hello to the people.
Hello! How are you guys? You can't answer.
That's right. We're not in front of a live studio audience, but if we were, I'm sure they would say, fabulous. We have a fabulous card, and by fabulous, I'm talking about girl power. This is like Powerpuff Girls meets Ultimate Fighting. Okay.
That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. This is the first card to feature a female fighter. This is the first card to have female fighters headline. This is the first card to have a female defend her title. Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche. That is a terrible, terrible last name. I know exactly what she was called as a child. But before we get to the card in Anaheim, California, there was some breaking news today. A tragedy. A shock. An outrage.
A disgrace.
The UFC has one-upped the Olympics by shitting on wrestlers. They cut 16 guys from their roster. Most of these guys are wrestlers. Some of these guys are grapplers. And some of these guys just flat out suck and needed to be cut.
Mm-hmm.
They cut Matt Yushchenko, wrestler, old. Volkman, wrestler, not funny. Russo, wrestler, cop, American hero. And out of the entire 16 names, they cut Jon fucking Fitch. They cut Fitch. Reaction.
I finally start to like Fitch, and then the UFC does this, and this, for me, I don't know what the UFC's doing. The UFC, Dana White, I suppose, is just making bad decisions after bad decisions. Like, he's really taken this company, and I like Dana White because you're always going to hear what he's thinking. I just can't agree with a lot of recent things that he's done. Just going off on whoever he wants to go off on, hyping God knows, every bit of energy he can on Ronda Rousey, basing women's MMA in the UFC on Ronda Rousey when there's competition throughout women's MMA, not just with Ronda Rousey, and then cutting Jon Fitch.
All right, so we'll talk about the women's part of MMA here in a second because there's something crazy going on there. Let's give Fitch his due.
Yeah.
If Fitch had lost to Eric Silva, I'd say, okay, cut him. But he dominated Silva in a very exciting fight. Even casual wrestling fans, MMA fans, like yourself, got onto the Fitch bandwagon. The internet was like, okay, I hated Fitch in the past, but that was a damn good fight.
Mm-hmm. He
loses to Maia, clearly the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner in the sport of any weight class, and then he's sent packing? The other dudes that he ran into some trouble with, Johnny Hendricks knocked him out. Johnny Hendricks also knocked out Martin Kampmann. He had a draw with BJ Penn. I mean, both of these guys are top 10 welterweights when they fought. Before that, he was on a 5-fight winning streak. Before that, he lost to GSP in a decision. And then before that, he won like 14 straight. I feel like I'm the mayor of Crazy Town.
It doesn't make any sense.
I'll tell you what sense it makes. Is that Dana, I don't have a problem with Dana. I like him. I like what he's done for the sport. But Dana is giving Jon Fitch lip service when he says stuff like, I like Jon Fitch. Mm-hmm. No, you don't. You don't like his style. You've never liked Jon Fitch. The Fertittas don't like Jon Fitch. The guy was the second best welterweight for 5 years, got one title shot.
And you know what sucks about this is I wanted Jon Fitch to be cut for so long. It was like my dream. Like, get Jon Fitch, Jake Shields, get him out of the UFC. Get him out. Don't let them be in MMA anymore. And then here I am. Finally, I could celebrate. And what am I doing? I'm on the Jon Fitch bandwagon, upset about it. I can't even be happy.
I make an oath. I make an oath to you this very day, an oath before Odin. There is a scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where the rumor mill has grown to the fact that Ferris Bueller is close to death. And there is a kid walking through the halls of the high school with a little change cup. Say Ferris? Say Ferris? Say Fitch. I'm starting a campaign. Save Fitch. We're going to save Fitch. We're going to get him back in the UFC.
I think that with the recent, I don't know, with Bellator, emerging and UFC doing what it's doing, giving title shots where they want to give it, acting like the WWE instead of a professional organization, and actions like this, cutting a top 10 welterweight, it's just not good. It's not good for the UFC.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand. He just destroyed superstar, awesome prospect Eric Silva, and then lost in a very flat, bad performance against Maia, but Maia's great.
Yep,
I mean,
Maia. It's not like Maia's a slouch.
No, I know. So here are the other guys. Here's the full list. Jon Fitch, Wagner Prado, Mike Russo, Jacob Volkman, Vladimir Matyushenko, Shea Mills, who just came off of a loss in England, Jay Heron, Terry Edom, loss in England, Paul Sass, loss in England, Jorge Santiago, loss in England, Mike Stump, Simeon Thorsen, CJ Keith, a.k.a. DJ Pooh, Montanaba Tezuka, lost in England, Josh Grisby, lost in England, Ulysses Gomez. Ulysses Gomez is actually a really good flyweight, and the flyweights are not deep at all.
Nope.
He's probably the other guy that I'm like scratching my head about. Why is this guy cut?
I mean, I understand, obviously, Heron. I understand, obviously, Matyushenko. He should have been gone a long time ago. I was against. I lost his stupid little name. What is his name? Volkman. I was against Volkman too. I just don't agree with Fitch. I don't agree with Ulysses. I kind of don't even agree with Mike Russo after 2 losses from going from 4 straight wins now 2 losses. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I don't want to. We'll finish this topic. We're just on a few more points. Here's what I don't like about them cutting Russo. I think they would have cut Russo sooner, except for the Chicago card. And he's a local Chicago cop, so they do the dog and pony show and bring him out there for fanfare. Mm-hmm. And he was fighting well in that fight. But then he made his public appearance, satisfied the UFC PR, and then they threw him to the curb. I don't like that.
No. I don't like the way they're doing business, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think it's going to catch up to them.
Here's the other part of their business that kind of makes me sick. How they're doing the Cyborg Santos thing.
Yep.
She is the Fedor of women's martial arts. She is the greatest mixed martial arts female to ever live. Now, I understand her point. She is a 145er. She built her career there, and she is the best female fighter on the planet. She was willing to come down to 140 if Ronda would come up 5 pounds. But they've anointed Ronda as Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva doesn't have to move weight if he doesn't want to. So you have to come all the way down to her. And I think it was a point of pride for Cyborg to say, listen, I'm better than her. I have way more wins. I have way more fights. I fought better people. Why do I have to go down there? And I think one of the reasons that they did that was because Dana was like, you look like a man. You're not marketable. So we're not going to bend over backwards for you at all.
I mean, I could agree with that. There's so many dirty, shady business tactics that they're probably utilizing there. I mean, sure, she's got the steroids thing, and she probably, just because she got caught once doesn't mean that was the only time she did it. But that's a super fight of women's MMA. You're putting on, we're in the super fight business this year. Why would we do our best to ignore that fight or get that fight to go away? Why not make it 140? I mean, it doesn't need to be for a belt. Who cares? Let's see the fight.
If you're a gambling man, every fight that Jon Fitch and Cyborg have in their respective promotions, wherever they land, bet the house on it, because they're going to destroy everyone they fight.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. That's 10 minutes about everything other than UFC 157. Let's talk about UFC 157. I don't even know if we should really talk about anyone on the Facebook prelims because they're probably going to be cut next week too.
Right. Who's to say?
I'm not bitter. All right. The Facebook prelims is a sort of the JV welterweight tournament.
That's exactly
All
what
three
it is.
fights are welterweights. You've got, I'm sure this is Nashon Burrell, who is 8-2 versus Yuri Villafort 6-1. Thoughts?
Don't care about who wins.
I kind of want Nashon to win. His name is actually written phonetically.
I want him to win because he's the rock and roller. I'll go with, and you know what? He's from Philly. I want him to win. There you go.
Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Next welterweight match is John Manley versus Neil Magny.
This is just a collection of great names.
Yes.
I'm going with Manley.
Manley's good. Magny. They're both 7-1 too. I feel like they cloned John Manley and just named him Neil Magny. I'll go with John Manley too, because we're manly men on this show.
I would like you actually, if you could, can you pronounce Magny's first name? You're good
Neil?
at this. No, his real first name.
Oh.
Out Neil Magny.
Let's take a look. Good thing he's got a Wikipedia page. Oatmeal.
Oh.
His name's Oatmeal.
Good job.
Thank you. Oatmeal. You know what? I'm changing my pick. Oatmeal all the way. My kid eats it every morning for breakfast. And that's a manly breakfast. See what I did there? I tied it all back together. Last fight, Kenny Robertson, 11-2 versus the love child of Lesnar and the Dean of Mean, Brock Jardine. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. 11-2 versus 9-2. Who do you like?
I like Brock Jardine. The love child's got to take the win. He doesn't have a wiki, but I'm going against the grain there on that. You're not supposed to win if you don't have a wiki, but I think you will. That's
right. That's the number one rule of this podcast. I would love for Brock Jardine to get a large penis tattooed down his chest and then tweak his nipples before every fight. That would complete it for me. I'm going to go with Kenny Robertson because I think there was a guy from my high school who became a professional BMX racer whose first name was Kenny Robertson or Robbins or something like that.
And
maybe it's the same guy. Maybe he'll crash into the octagon. And he's got a Wikipedia page in your face.
You know what? I don't.
Seriously, if Brock Jardine shows up with a penis tattoo and tweaks his nipples, I'm all in. Can I ask you a question that I asked Tom last time?
I'd love for you to ask me anything you ever want to.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll make a note of that. James Tahuna came into the Men in Black song and actually even did the dance. Mm-hmm. Did you see it?
I did.
This is what I asked Tom. If you could come into a song and have all of your managers and everything be your backup dancers, what would it be?
Whoa, on the spot much. Well, Men in Black is taken.
Yes.
That's a very good one to have done.
I've got a suggestion for you.
For me? Special for me?
Yes.
Okay. I actually have a song in mind, but I want to hear your
suggestion. So imagine this. You're dressed as a Catholic schoolgirl. Oh, baby, how was I supposed
Actually,
to
I was going to go in that direction.
This is a female card. We have to pay tribute to female
idols. Because
yeah.
I would only come out to female cards. I would only compete on those because I have a vagina. But I think the song that I would pick, and this is disgustingly sad that I know this, but I do have a younger sister. If you recall, you may not recall because you're like 80 years old, but NSYNC did a song, and in their video, they were puppets on strings. And I think that was Bye Bye Bye. So I would come out to Bye Bye Bye, and my backup dancers, my managers, would be puppets on strings.
I told Tom I was thinking about coming out to Like a Virgin, Madonna when she sort of rolled around in a wedding dress. I may change that. I may come out to Thriller.
Oh, there you go.
And even have zombie makeup. That'd be
that's the ultimate. And then with your zombie makeup, you would really piss off Stitch because he's got to put the Vaseline all over you. Huh.
Well, maybe I'd make Stitch happy because he'd be like, "That's a nice cut. That's a really nice cut. That's exactly what they look like." Let's get to the FX card. Sam Stout, a.k.a. Dead Man Walking, 7-2, versus Karos Fodor.
Dead Man Walking?
No relation. I think he's going to get cut if he loses. Versus Karos Fodor, no relation to Emelianenko, also 7-2. This is a lightweight fight. What do you think?
You know, Sam Stout is a gamer. I mean, he comes out to fight every time, and I love watching him. He's got a spotty record in the UFC, wins, losses, but that's what you get when you stand and bang the way he does. Fodor, when he was in Strikeforce, every single time they would announce his name, they would put his graphic up on the screen, they would advertise him a little bit. My brain went to Fedor, and I thought, yes, Fedor's gonna fight. So
he's gonna kill Sam Stout,
right? So he has been nothing but disappointment to me,
yeah.
Specifically because of his name. And I also don't understand how you would name a child Karos, but that's just me. Strictly based on that and the fact that I do like watching Sam Stout fight, I'm going Sam Stout.
I was wrong. Sam Stout's record is 18-8-1. Mm-hmm. I was reading Fodor's record for both of them. Fodor, I kind of feel like he's like one of the dwarves from the Lord of the Rings with a name like Fodor.
I like that.
Thank you. And
Fodor,
for that reason, we're going with the Canadian Sam Stout.
There you go.
Fodor, he's got to be like, he was born in Washington, but he's got to be like Eastern European with a name like Karos Fodor.
Well, his brother's name's Ben. Why is he Karos? What are they, Greek?
Yeah, that is weird. All right, moving on. Dennis Bermudez, 9-3 versus Matt Grice. Matt Grease?
Great. I'm going Grice.
I'm going to go with Grease if we can go Grease Lightning. 15-4. If his name is actually Matt Grease Lightning versus Dennis Bermudez, this is the best name matchup on the card.
And that's what we look for. We do look for the names.
Yes, we do.
I just want to say something here. You have Matt, the real one, Grice.
Yeah.
And Dennis, the menace, Bermudez. Huh?
Yeah,
no?
I don't like the real one. It kind of makes me feel like he's got like a inbred half-brother that's the fake one, and Matt is the real one.
I don't know why. It makes me feel like he's advertising himself like a condom. He's the real one. I don't know why that makes me think of condom of any type.
Feels nice. Wear a Grice.
There you go.
There you go.
The real one. Not that
Put your penis into a grease.
Mac Grice. Almost sounds like, if you say it quick enough, it's like mac and rice. Now I'm hungry. So.
You didn't eat dinner.
No, I didn't eat dinner.
What a trooper you are. I'm going to go with Bermudez.
I wholeheartedly agree. And here's why. Because Matt Grice beat Leonard Garcia. And as we all know, Leonard Garcia is a fan of the show.
And we're a fan of Leonard. Do you know what Dennis needs to do? He needs to learn a triangle. Because then it can be the Bermudez Triangle.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be better than
marketing.
The SAS angle.
That's only slightly... the only person that's got that slightly better is Dustin Kimura.
Yeah, he's the
It's all right there for him.
He doesn't need to do anything.
Your favorite fighter coming up next, lightweight, Michael Chiesa, 8-0 versus Anton Quavanen, 17-5. Anton is Finnish. Will he finish this fight?
I see what you did there.
Well played, sir.
I don't know. You've seen what Michael Chiesa can do. He doesn't look like he should be able to do what it is he can do. He doesn't look like he should be able to dominate the way that he can. He's got a little bit of hands on him when he throws them. I mean, there's power behind it, but he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing when he's throwing punches. So, when I watched that season of The Ultimate Fighter, I really thought, how do they get fighters in this day and age that still don't know how to throw a punch? So, I'm not on the Michael Chiesa fan. I was sick of seeing him cry throughout the show.
Heartless.
Look, your dad died. You need to go home. That's what I would have done.
But he won the Ultimate Fighter.
Won
you
the
would
Ultimate
not be a
Fighter.
winner
No.
if you went home.
No. I don't know. That's me, though. I understand how he cried and cried and cried. I totally get that. I just...
See, I would not be in the same position as Michael Chiesa, because his father died on the show. I'm not close with my dad at all, so I'd be like, oh, whatever.
Yeah. Or the UFC could be like, hey, man, we know you don't care that your dad died, but it would really help our ratings. Yeah.
I could come up with some fake tears. Here's what I think about Chiesa. He fights a Jon Fitch style. If he loses once, he's out. He's got to win. He has to win.
But, he does have some submission chops, so he could go there with that, and God knows who this Anton guy is, so...
Which way are you going?
I have to go with Kivinen because he is from Estonia, and I really like that.
Is he from Estonia? His last name is Finnish.
He is Finnish. He's from Estonia.
Okay.
And he trains in Helsinki.
That would be Finland.
I know.
That would be Finland.
I know. You say Geneva.
I like the name Helsinki. Sounds kind of scary. All right, we can admit that if there's going to be a knockout of the night, it's going to be when they take the defibrillator pads to Brendan Schaub and revive him from his death as he gets destroyed by LeVar Johnson. Brendan Schaub 8-3 versus LeVar. I just want to call him Big Daddy. Is that his nickname? That's what we're calling him.
That's what he looks like.
Big Daddy Johnson, 17-6. LeVar needs to find a movie role where he can be The Rock's brother, because I think they look enough alike.
Dude, that's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. His nickname's actually Big. He's Big LeVar, so Big.
Are you sure it's not LeVar Big Johnson?
Oh, it could be.
That would be a very, very bitter name then.
Hey-o!
Hey-o! My fight name from now on is going to be Rob Enormous Penis Curtis.
Just not even hiding it at all.
No. You gotta put it out there. I mean, how great would it be to see Buffer Enormous Penis Curtis?
We've thrown all journalistic integrity out of the window when we start.
Journalistic integrity? What's that? You picking LeVar?
Well, from my vast knowledge of striking, all coming from the Nintendo Wii sports game where we play boxing with my son, I'm going to say LeVar Johnson has the better hands, and Brendan Schaub has no chin. He's going to have to find his head after the fight. That's what I'm saying.
Brendan Schaub's only chance is to take LeVar to the ground immediately.
Yeah, when you get knocked out by Big Nog, you need to rethink some stuff about your life. Big Nog. The guy he can't even think at this point. He's so battered. All he thinks is submission.
All right, so here's the thing about... He got knocked out by Big Nog in Brazil, and Big Nog is sort of like King Arthur in that he draws his power from the mystical tie to Britain. And when Big Nog is in Brazil, he's damn near superheroic.
Yeah, but knocking out? When does he knock people out?
I think the more indictful... Is that even a word? Indictful? I think the more damning knockout was the Rothwell KO.
Oh, yeah. That was just... That let Rothwell not get cut. That's all that did.
So, LeVar Johnson.
Yeah, LeVar Johnson, I think he's going to rebound from what Stefan Struve did to him. I don't think... they're both almost the same size. LeVar's just is so much bigger, but LeVar Johnson, I think, pretty easily.
And LeVar has gunshot wounds. He's got scars all over his body from gunshot wounds. That's gangster. I'm going with LeVar.
He's a man's man.
He's a man's man. He's more manly than manly.
Oh!
Main card. Josh Koscheck, best friends with Jon Fitch. He's going to go out this one and do it for the Fitcher. He's fighting Robbie Lawler. What do you think?
I love watching Robbie Lawler fight. I look at Robbie Lawler's recent record, and it's just riddled with losses. And I do not see him staying in the UFC very long, even though he does have a long-standing history there. I really like Robbie Lawler, but I know Josh Koscheck knows the smartest way to fight this fight is to take it down, and that's what he's going to do.
Robbie Lawler, out of his last 8 fights, has 3 wins, and those are against Melvin Manoff, Matt Lindland, and some guy named Adlan Amagov. He has lost to Lorenz Larkin, Tim Kennedy, Souza Sabral, and Jake Shields. Koscheck's going to win.
Koscheck's going to win pretty handily, but since you brought it up, do you recall the Lindland knockout? Did you see that fight when Robbie Lawler knocked Lindland out?
No.
It was disgusting. I don't know if that fight did put Lindland into retirement, but if it didn't, it should have. He knocked him dead for a moment. And I would love for him to do that to Josh Koscheck. But Lawler's just so one-dimensional, and Koscheck's been around the game long enough. He knows what to do.
I have bad news for you. Lindland fought again. Maybe he's retired now because he was choked out by some guy named Khalidov, but he fought after Lawler.
Well, he shouldn't have. I know he's done now, which is good. But
he fought in Gdansk, Poland. That's pretty much retirement. That's like the senior PGA.
He lost in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Lindland.
in Poland. Next fight, a guy that should not be on the main card, and I don't think he should be in the UFC. Give Jon Fitch his spot. That's Court McGee versus Josh Neer. Court McGee is 13-3. Josh Neer 33-12-1.
You have 2 fighters here coming off both on 2 loss streaks, two fight loss streaks, whatever you want to say that. And I don't think this should be a main card fight. I don't think Court McGee. I think Josh Neer has earned a right to be in the UFC. I don't like Court McGee much. He's making his welterweight debut. You know, he figured he can't hang with the bigger boys, but I think Josh Neer's going to take him apart. Josh Neer's going to break something on him.
Yeah, and Josh Neer has sort of fluctuated between lightweight and welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Court McGee's size will play a factor in this. Quite frankly, I don't really care either way.
I'm not going to say that this is going to be like a smoke break or whatever fight, but I just don't see it being very interesting. Why is it on the main card?
No.
I mean, wouldn't you put Brennan Schaub and LeVar Johnson on the main card and take this fight off?
Just for the spectacular headhunting of it.
Yeah.
If we were to take like a fight that would probably be the most compelling, people won't like Chiesa's style.
No. Well, this is what I'm saying. When you start the pay-per-view, you should start it off with a bang. Do you recall the last card that was aired? The first, all the decisions that they were so boring. You should start the fight, the main card off with a bang, and with Josh Koscheck, Robbie Lawler, what you're going to get is a Josh Koscheck 2-3 round hold down. That's what you're going to get. I'd say start it off with Brennan Schaub, LeVar Johnson.
You should start off every card with a bottom 20 welterweight fighting Johnny Hendricks. He'll knock him out in about 30 seconds. He'll collect a nice paycheck. No harm, no foul to him. He can keep fighting every weekend. Just stroll Johnny out and he'll knock somebody out.
Why not a bottom 20 welterweight fighting, I don't know, Alistair Overeem? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Well, without the TRT, my Alistair could lose to anybody.
That is true.
How about Shane Carwin? We'll just do like the Shane Carwin whack-a-mole. We'll let him fight 2 flyweights. How about that?
The Shane
We'll put John
Carwin
Moraga
whack-a-mole
on his back, and it'll be Master Blaster. Next fight, Uriah Faber versus a guy I've really grown to like, Ivan Minjavar. Uriah is 26-6. Ivan Minjavar 25-9.
Why have you grown to like Ivan Minjavar?
Well, first off, Minjavar is a cool name. It kind of sounds like something like a venereal disease. Like I've got Minjavaritis or something. I've got a Minjavar on my scrotum. But I liked his last fight against Gashimov when he pulled off the armbar.
Okay.
Submission of the night. Got it in the first round. I think he's kind of, other than the Mike Easton fight, he's been kind of on a roll lately. And I don't know if this is heretical to say or not, but I think Uriah's past his prime.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Certainly, he's had quite a bit of a losing streak, and he just hasn't looked like the Uriah of smaller organizations in his fights. It seems like he just goes to whatever weight class he wants to, gets dismantled by the champ, and you know what I mean, and then just moves on. And he's stuck with bantamweight here. He's facing another game tough opponent in Menjivar. I'd like to see him get back in the winning column. So,
well,
I don't think he will, though.
Here's why I don't think Uriah, we can say he's definitively washed up. He has a spotty record his last, say, 10 fights. He's got 5 losses after going 21-1. But 2 losses to Mike Brown, that to me are clearly the worst losses of his recent record. Then he lost to Aldo, no shame there. He lost to Dominic Cruz, no shame there. And then he lost to Barao, no shame there. He submitted Bowles. He beat Wineland, which is a huge notch. Submitted Mizugaki, another nice win. Submitted Asuncao, that guy is now on fire. And submitted Pulver. So I can't say definitively whether Uriah has lost it, but I feel like he has. He could come out and just destroy Ivan Menjivar and just be the guy that kills everyone except for the title holder.
He's not the same guy from the WEC before he just all of a sudden got knocked out by Mike Brown. I don't know if that changed him or what that did. But
let me offer a counter theory. The fighter, I don't think he's like a Miguel Torres. Miguel is a shadow of what he was. I think Uriah, his skills were great for 5 years ago, and that would let him dominate. But I think the game has advanced far beyond him.
I guess
guys like Aldo, Barao, those guys are now a step beyond where he was. So even if he still is at his peak, I don't think his style is good enough anymore.
Yeah, he has a flashy style, but he was always able to control where the fight went. So he had that going for him, but he was also extremely quick. And I think you're onto something with the game has passed him by. I think he's still a player in the division, but when you do what he's done and what I hope Frankie Edgar doesn't do, just change division at will and lose to the best in that division. Whether you're past your prime or not, it's just what's the point in watching you go? You've lost so many championship type fights.
Here's Faber's Achilles heel. A guy with takedown defense, great speed, and technical stand-up. That's Barao, that's Aldo, that's Cruz. I'm kind of talking myself into Faber now. I think
really?
he might.
I'd like Faber to win. But look, he's lost 5 championship fights in the last 5 years.
Well, this isn't a championship fight. That's why my point. I think he's a different fighter when he's not fighting.
He's not,
those
right.
3 guys are all like top pound for pound, top guys.
All the guys that he's lost to, and all the 5 losses have been championship fights. So he might win. He probably will win, but I don't know.
This is going to be a logjam because Uriah, I think, I'm going to change my opinion. I think Uriah will beat everyone other than the champions, but then he'll lose to the champions. So anyone that tries to get a title shot that goes through Uriah will get put back down into the rest of the pile, and that's why I think there'll be a logjam.
I agree.
He'll be a bit of a division killer because he's great. He's just not good enough, not great enough.
Mm-hmm. I think we move on to a phenomenal fight.
This history aside, the importance of the main event aside, this is the best fight on the card. Lyoto Machida 18-3 versus your father's favorite fighter, old man Dan Henderson 29-8, TRT user.
Yeah, he is a TR. You know what though? I don't see him as the guy that's using it the wrong way. Do you think he juiced as a younger fella?
Man, that's tough. That is so tough to say. He competed so much in wrestling. And I don't know what the testing standards were, like for the USA Wrestling, for the International Federation of Associated Wrestling Styles. I don't know if they tested back then.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I don't think they tested Dick in King of Kings and Pride. So I would not be surprised if he juiced like crazy there. And I honestly expect everyone back then to juice. If you're not juicing, you're not taking the sport serious in those days. So I don't know. I've heard a lot of things. I've heard wrestlers burn out their adrenaline gland and thus burn out their testosterone with the way they train. I've also heard that if you abuse steroids, but I don't know. It's hard to say. I like Dan Henderson. I think he's overrated.
You do?
Oh yeah, I think so.
In what way?
I think he's got one tool.
And he uses that. What I don't understand is if he's got that one tool, how come he's able to use it so often?
Well, I mean, the easy thing is for Michael Bisping, he just literally had an aneurysm in his head and went the wrong. He just flanked in the exact wrong direction.
The whole fight. How do you not train for that?
Fedor Emelianenko took 3 full blast H-bombs to the back of his head. That's not fair. He still got the win, but that was I think Herb Dean blew that call.
You're one of those.
And well, he absolutely, just go watch the fight. He absolutely took him straight to the back of the head. Shogun had that fight been 1 minute longer, or even a 6th round, Shogun would have won.
I don't know how Shogun lasted, and then how Henderson had to last.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hendo is having a career renaissance ever since he beat Paul Harris. He went to Paul Harris, Franklin, Bisping, lost to Shields in a fight he easily could have won. Sobral, Cavalcante, Fedor, Shogun, and now the Dragon. Now, when he fought Paul Harris, which was 5 years ago, he was
22 and
37 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a renaissance like that, and you start walking through top guys, if that happened in baseball, like, oh my gosh, here's a 37-year-old power hitter, then all of a sudden now he's hitting 40 home runs a year. Everyone's going to say he's cheating. I kind of have to think that with Hendo.
Yeah,
I think he's cheating.
TRT, though, so far has been legal. He's got the license for it.
This is what we talked about last time. This is what Dana White is pissed off about. You can have, if you're prescribed TRT, you can have synthetic testosterone in your body, and they only test you before the fight. So if you're under whatever the prescribed level is, you're fine. But you have 4 months of camp to be on TRT. And he thinks, and I believe him, that a lot of these fighters are abusing that prescription and going way over and then cycling down just below the limit. I guarantee you that's what Vitor did, because Vitor's body looked absolutely different.
It did.
And with Dan having this out-of-nowhere renaissance of his career at 42, I think he's cheating.
So you think he is going above and beyond and then coming back down like the other guys?
If fighters don't want me to speculate that, or other media people to speculate that, then make the sport more comprehensive with the blood testing. Until then, you guys they brought that on themselves.
Even with Dan Henderson being outspoken against other fighters abusing TRT?
Is that not the best way to take the tension off yourself?
I suppose it is, but have you any reason to not trust?
40 years old, maybe the best streak of his career.
Okay. There it is.
Who do you think wins the fight?
It's tough to pick against Lyoto, especially how he just destroyed Ryan Bader, and he looked promising, I guess, against John Jones, but it's also hard to count out Dan Henderson. If you can get Dan Henderson, a little bit gassed, you've got him, and Machida's good enough to be able to do that. But for Machida, his strikes are devastating, but no one's ever knocked out Hendo. So I don't know. I see it going the distance, and because I see it going the distance, I think Machida will take it.
I think if you think about the styles and really break them down, I think this fight actually is pretty much a no-brainer. Hendo stalks, and he looks for one punch. Doesn't throw jabs. He throws that huge H-bomb. I think, what is it, a right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's a left. I think it's a left.
No, it's a right.
It's a right. Okay, he throws that right. And that's all he looks for. Now, his weakness is footwork and movement. And that is exactly what Lyoto is best at.
I very much disagree with that.
Dan has no movement.
No,
he stalks.
His footwork is sound.
It's no. His footwork is sound, but all he does is just go forward. He doesn't move. He doesn't have any head movement. He doesn't match people's footwork. He doesn't jump in to engage. He has no cardio to do that.
I'm going to call Jack Slack. He's gonna tell you about Dan Henderson.
You call him.
Dan.
Guess what? He's not answering because he's too big for our show.
He's big time now. He's big time in us. But Dan, all right, you go back to the Michael Bisping fight. Sure, Michael Bisping was circling the wrong way so badly that even Goldberg picked up on it. But Dan Henderson, what threw Bisping off was his footwork. His footwork was good enough that when he faked that teeny tiny left kick, Bisping, I don't know, stared off into space, and his jaw was immediately broken.
Machida's movement is different. He doesn't have a kickboxer's movement or a boxer's movement. He's got karate movement, which means he comes in and out.
Yeah, and he's going to be tough to catch, especially for somebody at 42 years old who's not throwing his fastball punch as fast as he used to.
And he's only throwing a fastball.
Right. But you have a guy in Dan Henderson who is smart, who has abandoned his wrestling game, but the type of punch that he throws has worked against Jake Shields, even though Jake Shields somehow survived it, has worked against Babalu.
He fought Jake Shields, and Jake Shields is a small middleweight. Lyoto is a legit light heavy. The other thing is, Dan Henderson didn't abandon his wrestling. He can't wrestle anymore. I think his back is shot.
And that may be true. I don't think he's got I think he knows his cardio isn't where it needs to be at all for wrestling, and he's not willing to change that.
I think Lyoto wins this decisively in a unanimous decision.
I think it'll definitely be a unanimous decision. I just don't see how he can finish Hendo, and I don't see Hendo catching him. But we all know nobody's going to disagree that if Hendo touches Machida's chin, Machida's going to crumple.
I just think that Shogun wrote the recipe to beating Machida, and Hendo doesn't have that.
Hendo doesn't have the well-rounded striking that it's going to take.
No, Shogun blitzkrieged with a flurry and rushed when Machida was doing his in-and-out movement. That's not Hendo's style. Hendo's a stalker with one big axe swing. And against Machida, I think that's a disaster. That's my opinion. We will know soon enough if I'm a genius or just wrong and still a genius. You still there?
Oh, sorry, my mic, the mute button hit.
That's fine. Last fight of the night, women's bantamweight, Ronda Rousey versus Liz Carmouche. Now, this has to be the lowest records, the win-loss records of any UFC title fight since like UFC 7. Ronda is 6-0, Liz Carmouche is 8-2.
I have a feeling you don't like her.
Who, Liz Carmouche?
That's correct.
No, she's not the fighter. She's not the fighter Ronda should be fighting.
No, she's not. I agree with that. But
she's probably like fourth in line, to be honest.
Here's the thing for Liz Carmouche. You talk about a first for many reasons for this fight. You have the first openly gay fighter stepping into the cage for the first time. Also,
whoa.
Is there another openly gay fighter?
What Todd Duffy doesn't get... Oh, wait, what'd I say?
Don't go there, girlfriend.
He's gonna kill me. This is why I will never go to a UFC event.
Not only that, here's a little trivia fact for you guys in the future. when someone asks you who's the first female fighter in the to step foot in the UFC, it's not Ronda Rousey. Liz Carmouche will be the first female fighter to step foot in the octagon.
To step foot into the cage, yeah.
She wasn't the first sign, but I'm not counting Carmouche out. I'll tell you that.
Here's what makes me... All right, so yes, it's a great thing that women are in the UFC. Is it a bad thing that Ronda Rousey has basically won off of 6 arm bars? Yes. Because if I was fighting Ronda Rousey, I would go to the Alan Belcher School of Submission Defense and just say, all I'm going to do is train armbar defense. Because she can't strike. She doesn't go for any other submissions. Alan Belcher avoided knee and ankle locks with Paul Harris. You telling me another woman can't figure out how to defend an armbar? It's ridiculous. She's a one-trick pony. Obviously, that one trick is really, really good. And Cyborg, I think, would have bashed her. But
who would you pick in a Cyborg fight with her?
At what weight?
140.
Cyborg.
Yeah. And I think that's what the UFC knows.
When Ronda fought... Who was her last person? When she fought Sarah Kaufman was catching her in the flurries. Obviously, it was only 54 seconds. Miesha Tate was catching her, too. Ronda has a tendency to go a little bit Brock Lesnar when she gets flurried.
Yeah, she's not used to it. She's like,
no, she's
what?
Not.
Why am I getting touched?
And she has no idea of what it feels like to be in there with a head-hunting Amazonian warrior woman like...
Yep,
like Cyborg.
Who, if you do get a hold of her arm and you want to break it, she's probably juiced up enough that she's gonna muscle out of it. Did
the Terminator tap when Sarah Connor got it trapped in the machine press and its legs got crunched? No. That's Cyborg. Take the arm.
I don't know. To Ronda Rousey's credit, when she went up against Sarah Kaufman's legit. And I had Sarah Kaufman winning that. And she made it look just simple. So Ronda Rousey's dangerous. Disgustingly dangerous. But I'm still not going to count out Carmouche. Gorilla.
One thing about Rousey, she was fighting over bantamweight for half of her career. She actually made her bantamweight debut against Miesha Tate. Before that, she even fought a catchweight at 150 pounds. Why can't she fight Cyborg again?
That's what Cyborg's argument is. Granted, having Tito as your...
Well...
that's not helping. But
that's a disaster.
Why she can't fight?
Why is Tito dressing like that?
I don't know.
You're not in a boy band, as someone on MMA Share said, and you don't play for Oklahoma City Thunder. Stop wearing fake glasses and nerd sweater vests.
I don't know. I can't even
Back to
begin
this
to
fight.
tell you.
You say don't count out Liz Carmouche.
No.
So, who do you like? Who are you picking?
You'd be dumb to not pick Ronda Rousey.
Armbar first round.
Armbar. Armbar. I mean, what do the statistics tell you? That's what she's going to do, and she's going to do it in the first round.
Yeah.
But
likely within 60 seconds.
Likely, yes. Well, most. I mean, some of them are less than 30. But I think that the game plan hasn't maybe been drawn out, but I think the idea to beating Ronda Rousey is there. Like you said, defend against all costs, all costs, that armbar. And here's why. That's Ronda Rousey's signature. Ronda Rousey likes that Ronda Rousey keeps doing that. Ronda Rousey wants to finish by armbar, so the mystique of Ronda Rousey can keep going. So
Mitchell
wants that
Stuckey
armbar.
likes saying Ronda Rousey.
I know Ronda Rousey is all about Ronda Rousey, and she loves hearing her name. But that's what she wants. She wants to get that armbar. And if
here's the other thing. Carmouche should not clinch with her because Ronda Rousey doesn't shoot. She gets her takedowns off of the clinch,
yeah,
like a judo person.
Right.
She doesn't shoot.
Well, she is judo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't have a wrestling takedown in her entire bag of tricks. Mm-hmm. Carmouche should stay away from the wall, stay away from the cage, and fight from the outside and move like crazy. I'm still picking Rousey.
I'm still picking Rousey. I want to like Rousey. There's just so many things about her that I just...
Oh, she's likable, but she's one of those chicks that you know is crazy.
Yep. Out of her mind. You know what I mean?
Like, you come home and she set your Camaro on fire and she's blaring your records while throwing darts at your mother's picture. Like, she's crazy. She's like one of those chicks that's like hot, sex will be good, but she's crazy.
Well, she does like to have sex before the fights. That's pretty awesome. So Nick Diaz must be a lucky man in that respect.
Are they dating?
No, they're not. Well, you know she wants to. She wants to be all up in both Diaz brothers. But when
I think they would be up in her.
That's... Well, I don't know.
Okay.
When you are asked why your armbar is so dirty, and your cute little response is because my professional judoka mother used to jump on me and wake me up with her arm bars, so I could defend it, and I got really good at it. No, the fuck it didn't. That's not how it fucking happened. So don't feed me that line, Ronda
I've
Rousey.
always been curious about this. She was a bronze medalist in judo and a whitey. So does that mean if we can actually convince like the silver and gold medalists from the Olympics, probably Koreans and Japanese, are they going to destroy Ronda in the UFC?
I'd like to see it. I doubt it, though. She's got the MMA experience.
Ronda Rousey, completely off topic, she reminds me of Jennifer Lawrence from the Hunger Games. Like, they look alike to me.
They could look I like Jennifer Lawrence a little bit better, but...
Yeah, so I think Ronda has to show up in the Hunger Games 2 as Jennifer Lawrence's crazy sister and break off some arm bars.
Oh, that would be hella awesome.
Cross-promotion.
Just write her right in. She doesn't mean forget the books. Just write her in.
You know, like how at the beginning, like you have to go and get the weapons and who gets the arrow? Well, Ronda Rousey doesn't even need... She'll just break somebody's arm and then uses the arm bone as a mace.
It's a mace.
As a mace. As a morning star. All right. That's our prediction. Again, loaded with analysis and journalistic integrity from top to bottom. Free Jon Fitch! Free Jon Fitch!
They really need to.
Yeah. Free Cyborg!
Bellator. Jon Fitch. Get him.
Yes. Yeah. Jon Fitch should start his own fighting games. The Ultimate Fitch Championship.
The Hug and Pray.
Hey,
I know.
That's not very nice.
And here I am getting all Dana.
Yeah, all right. That's our show. Come back next week. We'll do a two-parter. Prelims, and then the main card, part 2. 12 fights, huge card, pay-per-view. Be sure to check out MMAshare.com, where all of our friends are, and you can vote for the Hall of Fame. Whoever you want to vote for.
Remember, you want to vote for somebody who wants to be in the Hall of Fame, who has never said they don't want to be in the Hall of Fame, guys. Come on now.
And you want to vote for someone that isn't likely to be convicted of breeding meerkats out of his apartment in New York. I'm just saying, that's crazy talk. That's all right. No one listens to our show. He'll never hear this. All right. Lucky Rob saying farewell.
Follow us on Twitter, kiddies.
At Lucky Rob.
At Stucky the Shanks. I'll write it down in the thread for you.
You're the man. All right. See you guys next time.